Taking a live look outside, another beautiful Sunday ahead of us. I believe in the 70s. I don't want to jinx it. I don't even want to say it.
It was nice yesterday, a little cloudy. I'm hoping today is a little bit sunnier.
Sunnier, I know.
If we get lucky.
I hope
Happy
so.
Easter to everybody who celebrates as well. As the sunrise starts up here, Easter sunrise service at Red Rocks should be starting right about now, actually. Gates opened at 4:30 a.m. this morning, and service will last until around 7:30 this morning. That's one of the coolest Colorado traditions, I think, is waking up with that on Easter Sunday. And look how many people there are already there. And during the pandemic, they didn't have it, obviously.
I remember they live streamed it, or they tried to do something like that,
And I think it was last year for the first time that they had everybody back, and it was just so, everybody was so excited to be there. And just showing that shot this morning with the sun coming up, it really starts the day and the holiday off correctly.
Makes you feel good about
Absolutely.
it. Nice to see that community together. Thank you so much for joining us. Anusha and Mark with you on this Sunday morning. We're going to be getting to your full weather forecast in a few minutes, but can promise you it's looking beautiful.
Absolutely. And some 80s in the week coming up here.
Oh my gosh.
That's what we like to see. It already starting to feel like spring, especially with Easter now starting up, and baseball is back.
I know. This is it, you guys.
Like
this is the turn.
Yeah, and especially all those, the weather is getting nicer. You start to see the green grass, the blooms on the trees, the flowers, and then
it's beautiful.
All of a sudden, it's summer.
I love it. Well, we want to get to some of your headlines before we get to weather here. Groups in Colorado are preparing to take action after dueling rulings over abortion care, plunging access into care into chaos. Even in Colorado, where the right to an abortion is protected by state law, the future of one method of abortion is now in question. This week, a federal judge in Texas suspended the FDA's 2-decade-old approval of the drug mifepristone.
It's part of a 2-drug regimen in the medication process for abortion. The government gets 7 days now to appeal before that could go into effect. Another federal judge out of the state of Washington immediately contradicted it, ruling the FDA must keep the drugs available in at least 17 states. That includes Colorado. Now, this could all eventually lead to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, our Luis de Leon is talking with the group that is focusing on making sure communities of color are getting culturally responsive care.
Systemic institutional oppression.
The Colorado Organization for Latina Opportunity and Reproductive Rights, known as COLOR,
Yes, have you heard about COLOR before?
has been one of the groups at the forefront of connecting women with a focus on Latinas to culturally responsive reproductive care here in Colorado.
We have become very aware that there's a lot of people traveling to Colorado for care.
Aurea Bolaños Perea leads communications for COLOR.
When people come with us with their stories, seeking care, asking questions, asking who to trust, if they're from another community, they come to us to ask those questions.
Over the last year, they've gotten more calls for help. Higher demand meant ensuring clinics had the right resources.
For example, when the Dobbs decision happened, we saw that a lot of clinics didn't have translators on call all the time, every day. Now we know that a lot of clinics here in Colorado have ensured that they have a language hotline or somebody on call that can offer those services.
But as a new battle ensues over access to mifepristone, Perea says they're looking at the impacts.
That is going to be a huge impact to communities of color, to young people that want to be able to make those decisions for themselves.
A study last year out of UCLA found that 46% of Latinas aged 18 to 44, what they consider childbearing age, live in abortion-restrictive states. Perea says their next steps stem from education.
Turning to us for questions when they really need somebody that understands their lived experiences and can level with them in a conversation.
More than half of the abortions in the U.S. are done using this medication, mifepristone, according to several research and policy centers. There are other ways to have an abortion, like surgery or a different medication regimen. Abortion advocacy groups like COLOR say that they are trying to make sure people looking for care in Colorado understand all of their options as they're making their decisions.
Now, here in Colorado, a package of Democrat-backed bills strengthening abortion rights is waiting for the governor's signature. The bills passed last week, mostly along party party lines. Senate Bill 190 would set restrictions on how anti-abortion centers can advertise their services. Senate Bill 189 would expand insurance coverage for abortions. And Senate Bill 188 protects abortion patients and providers in Colorado from out-of-state legal threats for reproductive care that is legal in Colorado. If signed by the governor, all bills would take effect immediately.
Fort Collins police are looking for a motorcyclist they say hit another motorcyclist and then took off. The other rider is seriously hurt. Police say crashes tend to go up when the weather gets warmer and there's more bikers out on the road. This one happened late Friday night on South College Avenue near Skyway Drive. Officers are now looking for the rider of a blue Yamaha sport bike. If you have any information, you should call Fort Collins police.
And another deadly crash in Douglas County. CSP is investigating a motorcycle crash that took place on Saturday afternoon. A pickup truck pulled out in front of a motorcycle on Highway 85 south of Highlands Ranch. 45-year-old motorcyclist died. The 81-year-old driver of the truck is okay. No citations have been issued yet. I want to give you an update out of Oklahoma this morning. The University of Oklahoma Police Department now says that an active shooter incident may have been prompted by a bogus report of shots fired at the campus library. The university sent out an emergency alert to people to shelter in place. Those are always really scary. About 90 minutes later, the university tweeted that no threat had been found and an all clear was given. OU police confirmed there was no sign of a shooting and no injuries as well.
Right now, China is putting on a show of force near Taiwan. This comes after House Speaker Kevin McCarthy met with Taiwan's president in California earlier this week, which China called a provocation. Now China is sending its own warning, launching a new military drills around Taiwan. Taiwan's Ministry of Defense says 71 Chinese fighter jets and 9 ships crossed the sensitive median line on the Taiwan Strait yesterday between Taiwan and China. China says the military drills will be running through Monday and that the U.S. should view this as a strong signal that China will safeguard its sovereignty.
Pope Francis talked of the icy winds of war on Saturday at an Easter Vigil service at the Vatican. The 86-year-old Pope urged people to turn to God to overcome a sense of helplessness. He was recently hospitalized for 3 days last week due to bronchitis and skipped an outdoor event on Friday. He was taken to the front of St. Peter's Basilica in a wheelchair to preside over the Easter service.
The Iranian women's movement has faded from national headlines, but women in Iran are still fighting for freedom.
And the creators of an exhibit at the University of Denver hope that people can continue to learn about what's happening. Here's 9 News reporter Katie Eastman and photojournalist Mark Zaletta.
Home can feel far away at college.
Free pizza if you want any.
And even when one stumbles into this room at the far end of University of Denver Student Center,
Hi, come in.
the feeling might still be foreign.
Oh, we're preparing.
But the creators of this exhibit feel closer to home than ever.
These are normally the sweets that we make for the New Year.
In this space, they play Iranian music, they eat Iranian food, and join the Iranian people in protest for women's rights.
So it's very hard to not be a body on the streets right now. So this is like the only way that I can feel like I'm actually like present in my body, doing something active.
Home for Professor Pave Masagi is Iran.
I don't think that I can work back in my country.
Home for grad student Mona Moyedi changes.
Somewhere you feel safe and you can be yourself with no limitations or restrictions. Nothing is imposed upon you, and you can be the whole person you are. That's home for me.
Mona thought she'd go back to Iran after grad school, but home as she once knew it doesn't exist.
You're not allowed to smoke in the public. As a woman, you cannot dance in the public. You cannot even ride your bike.
But trying to make a specific type of image on here of solidarity with women, however you want to interpret it.
This room echoes the movement that gained momentum when Iran's morality police were reported to have killed a young woman for not wearing her hijab properly last fall. The space includes the creations of students here joining the protests from afar.
I think what strikes me most about what's happening in Iran is that a lot of the people who are fighting and losing their lives are our age. Like I'm just a 21-year-old guy living in the US when there's other 20-year-olds and losing their lives on the streets of Iran.
Their digital art is displayed on projectors.
I think the best I can do is a stick figure. I won't lie.
And each day of this exhibit, they push their own boundaries to find new ways to stand in solidarity.
It's a very intersectional movement, so it's important for us to do this kind of work in different contexts so that we can reach out to different audiences.
You just gotta go with it.
Creating to define what home should be.
This is more like unifying. And
Katie Eastman, 9 News.